Hi there, this is Doshu. I'm the abbot here at Zenwest Buddhist Society. This Living Zen-podcast is just one of the many resources we've created at Zenwest to make Zen practice and training more available and accessible to people all over the world. Instructional videos, printable resources, and much, much more are also available on our website at www.zenwest.ca. If you're a regular listener, I'd love to hear from you. So please drop me an email at office@zenwest.ca and let me know who you are, how you got started, and what brought you to Zen. Everything we make available in person and online at Zenwest is only possible because of the support of our members and associates, people like you. If the efforts of our community are making a difference in your life, I'd like to invite you to show your support and take part in making it happen by becoming an associate or member of the Zenwest Sangha. You can do this by clicking the Join Us tab on our website at www.zenwest.ca. Thank you for your support, and thanks for listening.
First off, welcome to the newcomers who have just joined us. Great to have you with us this evening. You've come in just at the time where one of the senior students or the abbot gives a talk, a Dharma talk, a short talk. The appropriate response to the talk is just to be with the talk. When we sit quietly, generally we're given some instruction in a breath counting practice, and the invitation is to engage wholeheartedly with this breath counting practice. When there's a Dharma talk, such as right now, just to be with the Dharma talk, you can let go of counting your breaths. Just engage with the talk. Be with it, not worrying too much if it makes any sense or not. Just be with it and notice your reactions, you could say. Well, this evening, having just returned from Sesshin practice a week or so ago, Reverend Sesshin and I had the opportunity to go down to Seattle and attend a 7-day intensive training period there. I thought I'd like to share a little bit about that experience. Often, when we talk about practice, we use imagery or examples, metaphors, so and so. And often what comes up is this three-legged stool. This is a way of talking about balance among three aspects of something. And in the current context, I'll talk about a balanced practice, because this Sesshin practice, this intensive practice, it takes place over a week. There's a lot of sitting. It's rather like our Tuesday evening sits here, only more so, you could say. It's a form that's evolved over centuries, and it offers an opportunity for a balanced practice. And in that context, it incorporates, among other things, three principal activities. The first is zazen, seated meditation, which in this context includes walking meditation, bowing, prostrations, chanting, and so on. This is the one important leg of this stool. Just like a physical three-legged stool, if one leg is noticeably shorter or weaker, for example, than the other two, the overall stability of the stool is compromised. So in Sesshin, we really have this opportunity to address all three legs. So the first is zazen. We often talk a lot about that. I'm not going to say so much this evening about zazen practice. The second is Dharma talks or teisho. These are talks typically that a teacher will give as part of the practice activity. And while there may be a tendency to think of these as some sort of an adjunct, I think it's important to see them in their own light as fully constituting one of the three legs of this practice stool. The spoken word is very powerful, and in the mouth of a skilled teacher, it's a force to be reckoned with. This is my experience of it, at least when I'm sitting where you're sitting. It has its own charms when you're sitting over here, too. And the third leg, which we don't get to explore so very much here on Tuesdays, is the private interview between student and teacher. This is called, it could be called interview. We call it interview here. It could be called sanzen or doksan. These are more traditional names for this activity. It's a formalized opportunity for the student and the teacher to come face to face in a private, a very supportive, highly a tight environment. And a very powerful part of practice it is indeed. And as I say, we don't get to explore that so much here on Tuesday evenings because this is entry level. We've got a lot going on to fit into a short period of time. To break off and have one-on-one interviews with the teacher is a bit much. But you can get maybe a whiff of the power of this practice from our tea circle. Usually we have a tea circle following our formal sit here, and one of the aspects is generally a questions and responses time with the abbot. So in those situations, you can come up with something that is heartfelt in your practice that you want to engage with the teacher over. And although it's not private, it's in a group setting, you can still maybe get a sense of the power of doksan, of interview. This is the third leg. And for a balanced practice, I really encourage people to move towards a situation where they can take advantage of all three legs of this practice stool. So, in this case, I was away at Sesshin. I just want to share briefly what happened to me in one of these interview sessions with the teacher. This is Genjo Osho, whom some of you know. He comes up a couple of times a year and runs a weekend intensive here. So there are opportunities to connect with his teaching. So midway through the session or so, I don't know, day 3 or 4, something like that, I bounce into doksan, and the formalism is there's some bows as you enter, and then you present whatever it is you're working on, and the teacher will say, "Okay, show me what you got," and you show him what you got, or her what you got. In this case, it's a hymn. So I did that, and Genjo said, "Well, how was that?" And I said, well, I had been working on a certain aspect of this exercise, and I thought I had made some progress in that effect, but I said, there's still some doshu there. And we're sitting just right up against each other, right? He leans across and says, "Way too much doshu there." Whoa! Right. Way too much doshu. This is the power of that encounter. One is totally, or can take advantage of the opportunity to be totally naked, to be totally forthright, to give over entirely to the situation, to give your best shot, as it were, and then to have loving feedback come at you. In this case, way too much doshu. So, well, it turns out that the universe doesn't need so much doshu doing doshu's thing intensely. This is the putting a head on top of the head that I already have. And I got called on it very forcefully. It sunk in. I was thinking about it afterwards, and it's rather like I was at a carnival, or like a midway in a carnival or a fair or something like that, and I'm walking down the midway, and here's the Genjo barker saying, "Step right up here. Test your strength. You look like a strong fellow. Here's a big mallet. Just whack this button as hard as you can, and the marker will run up this scale, and if you hit it really hard, it'll hit the bell at the top and ding it. I'm sure you can do that." So, yeah, I'll give it a try. So I roll up my sleeves, maybe spit on my hands, get all set, take the mallet, take a firm stand on the ground, breathe into my hara, kind of screw up my strength and grimace a little bit and take a big old swing, whack. Meanwhile, the barker's standing there kind of shaking his head. Way too much doshu. Just way too much. And then the next fellow comes along, maybe Joko comes along, grabs the mallet. Oh yeah. Wham! Ding! Wonderful teaching. Thank you, Joko. It's like that. That's just an example. Not to be bad and wrong for going at it one way or not another way, not trying to get it right necessarily, just being who we are, being willing to go in and give it our all transparently, and to take the feedback that comes not as criticism, or maybe as criticism. If we're wired up to have performance anxiety, there will be internalized criticism. What a wonderful opportunity to be exposed to it, to notice it in stark relief and let it go. Or perhaps hang on to it for a few more years. That's been tried. I know someone who does that a lot too. So, two of these legs, Zazen and listening to talks, Dharma talks, they're fairly private affairs. You don't really expose yourself so very much. This is where the power of the interview comes in. To let go and be willing to be vulnerable in a very controlled, very safe, very supportive, very loving space. I hope you will take whatever advantage you can of opportunities of this sort. They arise all over in life. I remember one martial arts teacher whose dream, he sort of had this motto, which was, put it up on the mat. Demonstrate with your body physically. His dream was when he called in the dojo, in the training room, for volunteers to demonstrate a technique or a move that they were learning. His dream was that everyone in the room would jump up and say, "Yes, I want to show what I can do," whether they could do anything or not, whether it was the first time or the 100th time. Just this, yes, I will go and do what I can. I will let go of the barriers that get between me and engaging fully with whatever's in front of me. This is a challenge. It comes up before us everywhere, and it hit me particularly strikingly in this recent Sesshin, so that's why I wanted to share this incident with you. Way too much Doshu. It's a lesson that I'll remember for a long time. And perhaps you'll remember it as well.
Thanks for listening to the Living Zen-podcast. If you follow Living Zen through iTunes, I would very much appreciate it if you would take a moment to let me know what you think about it by rating or reviewing the podcast, so that new listeners can also hear what you have to say. Thank you for your time and for your support.